What do you got, Tyler?
All right, let's start with Caitlyn Clark and everything that went down over the weekend. We know that she is the one that is drawing a ton of eyeballs to the league. It's a big reason why we've seen everywhere from where she was in the college game. Their ratings were through the roof, and the WNBA off to a good start as well. I ask you, is the WNBA obligated to go above and beyond to protect Caitlyn Clark by levying higher fines, suspensions, or whatever other measures necessary?
I'm like stuff against her versus fines against the same
Versus
transgression.
one of her teammates, yeah.
No, that I don't agree with.
That's unfair treatment.
Yeah, no, I'm not looking for unfair treatment for, like Waddle said, with her. And I think it's smart that everybody, that you don't kill your sport. Like, be smart with the sport as well. Like these jealousies are stupid.
If I was the WNBA commissioner, I'd take the tape of the second hour of this show, and I'd play it for them. And I would tell them the story that you told about Tiger Woods and Michael Jordan and let them all know that at the end of the day, somebody's popularity could ultimately be something that provides a treasure chest of riches for everyone involved. I would not be an advocate of giving her preferential treatment at all, but I would tell all of these teams that, look, what you're doing right now is not helping anybody's cause. We're not asking you to take it easy on her, but doing what you're doing isn't, I don't believe, making the product any more popular. And the gateway to heftier salaries and everybody else making more money is a larger television contract, which will be driven by a greater level of popularity. And I just don't personally believe that what they're doing right now is the vehicle to get to where you want to go.
And I don't know if Caitlyn Clark will be Michael Jordan or Tiger Woods, but the story that I told earlier is everyone just thinks that Michael Jordan was beloved in the NBA as soon as he started. But if you're not older like I am and were around in Chicago during the time when he first got into the league, there were lots of jealousies throughout the NBA. And how the original feud with Isaiah Thomas started was it was Isaiah Thomas and, believe it or not, Magic Johnson, George Gervin. In his first All-Star game, they iced him out because they did not like all the sponsorships he had, how he was wearing the flashy Air Jordan, not just shoes, but warm-up gear. He had sweats head to toe and wore into the first slam dunk competition. And they're like, who is this guy? Like, he's too flashy. That's not how we roll here in the NBA currently. And what he did is he paved the way for everybody. So, again, I would just look as a player and say, defend the hell out of her, compete like hell against her, but also understand that you're all partners together in the growth of the league.
The petty jealousies are not going to make the product more desirable.
Right.
They're all in this to obviously enjoy a game that they are very passionate about, but to grow the game. And I just don't think this is a very good way to go about growing the game. So, no, I would not. But with that said, I would not be an advocate of the league giving her any preferential treatment at all.
And by the way, the league just announced that she is the player of the rookie of the month for the month of May, as you would expect.
All right, let's get to the Cubs because they have now lost their last 6 series. They are 5-14 in their last 19 games. And this weekend was sort of a nice microcosm of everything that's been bad with the Cubs. Bad offense, bad defense, bad base running, and a bad bullpen. So I give you those 4 pillars of what's led to a lot of the Cubs' demise over the month of May. Bullpen, base running, offense, and defense. How would you rank them from worst problem to not as bad of a problem?
Bullpen still is number 1 because the hitting fluctuates with streaks, but hitting is number 2. It's bullpen, and then it's hitting, and then what is it? Base running and what?
Base running and defense.
I still believe in their defense.
I do too, but I believe it's been a significant problem for them.
But base running, they've made the most outs on the bases of any team. I'll put that number 3, and I believe in their defense, so I'm putting that number 4.
I would put defense ahead of base running at this point.
Yeah, like Dansby Swanson has not been as good of a defender as he has been in years past. Seiya has had a couple of those.
That drop ball. Oh.
I mean, that very well could have cost them that game on Saturday.
And he's done that from time to time. Losing balls in the lights.
He did that last year in a very important situation as they were trying to grab a wild card spot.
That's right. That's right. In September.
Against Atlanta.
He did it against the Pirates a couple weeks ago, too.
Again, like today, I got a softer version of Cap in the morning where he was hard on them last week, went after Jet, and then today he was they're right where they were last year. The problem I have with that is this team is supposed to be better than last year's team. This team was supposed to take the next step. They're not supposed to be where they were last year. And last year's team went on a good run to get better than this. They're not doing anything well at this point. And to go from 8 over, and that's where you shouldn't look at where they are now. You should look at where they were 3 or 4 weeks ago. And to go from where they were 3 or 4 weeks ago to being 2 under now is absolutely horrible. And like Meller said before, they're not only bad, they're boring. This is a boring baseball team right now. And besides the starting pitching, there is not much to hang your hat on.
Yeah, they're not an exciting team. They're not a good baseball team at this moment.
They're minus 12 in run differential. This is a not so good division besides Milwaukee, and you are behind the Cardinals. You're only 1 loss better than the Pittsburgh freaking Pirates. You let the Reds come to town and take 2 out of 3 from you. You had to struggle to win the only game that you just won. There's absolutely nothing to write home about them at this time. I'm not saying that they can't get hot and that they won't get hot, or that they're still in a wild card race. But to be anything else than be massively disappointed with the way this team has performed on June 3rd is underselling it.
With all that said, I would be very, very surprised 2 months from now if everybody's still struggling as mightily as they are at the plate. I think there will be some progress made there. But right now, they're not a good baseball team.
Well, 2 months from now would be August. So who is still
Dansby
here
Swanson
and who's
won't
not
be
still
hitting
here?
203.
But who's here and who's not here?
That I don't know.
Who are you acquiring guys? And
based on their track record, the answer is no. You're going to try to make do with what you have. You think there's an appetite to add salary to this roster?
How much patience do you continue to have with the guys who are struggling? When do you bring up some of the younger guys and let them have a shot at it?
In some ways, you use the past to predict the future based on how Jet has handled stuff. How would you project that they're going to do things?
Well, look, I thought they should have sold last year, and they didn't. So
because they believe in their group. My guess is if you get to the trade deadline this year and they're underachieving, you're going to get the same. You're going to get the same emotion from up there. We've underachieved. We'll be better in the second half.
The only thing is that the Diamondbacks show them that with their pitching staff, if they just get hot, they could possibly still do stuff. But man, I believe they still have to make some moves. You can't let. Again, I don't know how long I'm going to give them. I'm not going to give them 2 months of patience, but I'm not riding this out long.
If I was a fan of theirs, I would say stop looking to hopefully become this version of the Arizona Diamondbacks and be more like the Phillies and the Braves and the Dodgers, because you do have the financial resources to get into that deep end of the pool.
That's the thing. Who slugs like anyone on the Phillies on this Cubs team?
No, nobody.
That's the problem.
Right. So wouldn't you be pounding your fist on the table saying, I want to be more like the Phillies, instead of being like, hey, we may catch a heater in the postseason like the D-backs did last year. you're right. It could happen, but I'd prefer to take the other route and have a team that's got some guys that I'm not just banking on overachieving to get us to where we want to go.
Now, one of the potential moves, and the name was surfaced again over the weekend as a potential trade candidate, is Pete Alonso. Now, look at what the New York Yankees have done. I'm not saying these guys are comparable because they're not, but their big move in the offseason was trading for a rental in Juan Soto, and the Yankees right now have the best record in all of baseball. Should the Cubs look at that as a lesson to go out and make a trade for Pete Alonso, even though it is as a rental?
What's his injury status? Is he okay now? Did they pronounce him healthy? Or what?
Let me check.
Because wasn't he hurt at the end of last
He got hit
week?
by a pitch at the end of last week.
I know Waddle has said that you got to talk to his agent, and his agent now is Scott Boras.
Where's your Judge? Where's your Stanton up there? Where are those guys that are going to fill in the lineup?
You don't have them. You don't, and isn't it maybe more desperate times because of that?
So I would
because
say
you need
that
a guy who can mash.
If you were the Yankees and you decided to trade for the rental that is Soto, you're more equipped to actually compete for a title than the team on the north side. So I wouldn't be in rent-a-player mode unless you could get him for further.
But like, how much is a guy like that to rent going to really cost you?
I don't know.
I don't think it will cost you that much.
By the way, he was in the lineup yesterday.
Okay, good.
Like what do you think that the Mets are going to ask for?
Like a
Pete
top
Alonso.
one of your top 10 prospects.
Okay.
And you have one of, if not the best systems in all of baseball, and you do that by building out depth in your system. So,
I'm just saying, like, look, acquire Pete Alonso, but I would want to make sure he's in the fold for a couple of years. Because
me too.
he ain't
Yeah,
taking
sure.
you. I mean, that team's 2 under 500 right now. Pete Alonso isn't the magic elixir for getting you to the World Series. He makes you a better baseball team.
Yeah, he makes everybody better, for sure.
could he be the difference, though, between winning and not winning the division?
7.5 is a big upward climb. It can be done. There's a lot of time left.
Can he also come out of the pen? Can he play first and also?
Oh yeah, you need 2 more relievers with him. So you're going to have to trade for other guys. It's great questions, Tyler. 312-332-3776 if you want to weigh in. The good, the bad, the dirty. Our recap of the weekend coming up as well. It's all next on